We are operating journeys high on Iceland's second largest glacier. Our tour has two attractions, the truck tour into the wilderness and then going inside the world's largest ice tunnel.
We both haul logs, we both truck in the off-season of doing the ice roads, and we're always exchanging stories.
Not everybody is cut out to be an ice road trucker. Not everybody can do this and challenge themselves.
Imagine a vast, frozen wilderness where every mile tests the limits of human courage. In this treacherous realm, the icy roads become a stage for daring feats, where survival depends not only on the strength of a truck, but also on the heart of the driver. This is the world of ice road truckers, a place where bravery and tragedy walk side by side over frozen landscapes. Tonight, we embark on a journey that peels back the curtain on the lives of those who brave these extreme conditions. From spine-chilling near misses to heartbreaking losses, the story you're about to hear is filled with raw emotion, intense moments, and the indomitable spirit of men who live for the road.
The History Channel's Ice Road Trucker Shed Some Tears Tonight as an emotional episode of the program shows.
This script is a tribute to the real-life heroes of the ice roads, a narrative that details their adventures, their struggles, and the heavy price they sometimes pay. Every moment behind the wheel is a dance with fate, and every mile traveled is etched with memories of loss, hope, and brotherhood. As you listen, let the winds of the north and the roar of truck engines transport you to a world where time stands still and every heartbeat counts. Daryl Ward, the adrenaline-fueled heart of the ice. Born on August 13, 1964, in the rugged landscapes of Montana, Daryl Ward was destined to forge a life on the highways of ice and snow. Growing up in a family where trucks were more than just machines, they were a way of life. Daryl absorbed the rhythm of the road from a very young age. His grandparents, who worked relentlessly on harvest rigs, instilled in him an unyielding passion for trucking. For 3 decades before the cameras rolled, Daryl's life was intertwined with the powerful rumble of engines and the relentless challenge of harsh weather conditions. When Daryl joined Ice Road Truckers as a regular cast member in Season 6, his entry was like a burst of energy that revitalized the series. His personality was larger than life, a blend of fierce determination and an almost contagious sense of adventure. Daryl was more than a driver. He was a mentor, a friend, and an unspoken guardian for his fellow truckers. Despite the cutthroat nature of the competition on the ice, he was always the first to extend a helping hand. His warm smile and readiness to share advice made him an emblem of genuine compassion in an otherwise unforgiving world. At every turn, Daryl showcased an unwavering love for his craft. Whether it was tackling steep inclines, navigating through whiteout conditions, or lending a hand during roadside breakdowns, his commitment never wavered. One could hear his hearty laugh echoing through the frosty air, even as danger lurked beneath the ice. He was not driven by wealth or the lure of fame. His fuel was pure passion and an inner desire to overcome every obstacle that the icy roads presented. And so, his presence on the show wasn't just about hauling loads. It was about lifting spirits and paving the way for a legacy built on reliability, camaraderie, and the grit to push on against all odds. In one particularly memorable segment, Daryl was seen helping his competitors, yes, even his rivals. This act of selflessness was a testament to his character, a man for whom every life mattered. Whether he was putting out forest fires or organizing food drives for disaster-stricken communities, Daryl was a pillar of strength. His motto, "Any road, any load," was not just a catchy phrase. It was a philosophy that defined his existence. However, the light of his career was tragically extinguished on August 28, 2016. Daryl was returning from the Great American Truck Show in Dallas, Texas, when he boarded a small Cessna 182 Skyhawk with pilot Mark Mellitz.
A witness to an airplane crash that killed Ice Road Truckers driver Daryl Ward said the Cessna 182 was making a second attempt to land at a western Montana airstrip.
The flight, intended to be routine, turned fatal as the plane made a sudden, mysterious right turn on approach near the Rock Creek airstrip in Montana. The National Transportation Safety Board later declared that no mechanical fault or external anomaly could account for the abrupt maneuver. No explanation was sufficient to justify the sudden loss of such a vibrant spirit, leaving behind a gaping void not only in the trucking community, but also in the hearts of all who revered him.
Powerful winds rocked most of Montana today, causing widespread damage and poor visibility across the state.
On that chilly day, as the frozen winds whispered of loss across Montana, the Ice Road community was plunged into mourning. Darrell left behind not only a family that loved him dearly, his daughter, sons, and grandchildren, but also an entire community that found solace and inspiration in his example. His legacy endures as a beacon of selflessness and bravery, a reminder that sometimes the most heroic journeys end far too soon. Art Burke, the comedic risk-taker who crossed the line. From the rugged trails of the ice roads emerges another unforgettable character, Art the Bee Burke. Bursting onto the scene in Season 7, Burke quickly became synonymous with humor and grit. His famously foul-mouthed banter and irreverent attitude drew viewers in like a magnetic force. Every episode with Art was filled with moments of unexpected levity amid the tension of near-apocalyptic scenarios on the ice. Yet, while his on-screen persona was always daring and lighthearted, the off-screen events of his life would soon prove to be a turning point, marked by shock and sorrow. Art's career on the show was a roller coaster of risks and redemption. In one heart-stopping segment, when his truck's front wheels shattered the fragile ice below, most would have retreated in fear, but not Art.
Burke, fully composed under pressure, put the safety of the following cameraman before his own life, even though it was obvious that it was in danger.
With steady resolve, he ensured that his cameraman was out of harm's way first, an act that underlined the depth of his heroism. His bravery was not defined by the absence of fear, but by the power to overcome it, even in the face of danger. However, the same boldness that won hearts on the ice roads also led him down a perilous path off the cameras. In November 2018, in an attempt to experiment with a trendy yet hazardous process to create a cannabis concentrate dubbed shatter, Burke turned to liquid butane, an ingredient known for its volatile nature. With little hesitation, he embarked on an experiment that would soon spiral into a catastrophic explosion. The blast left him with burns covering 40% of his body and required a grueling 12-day recovery in the hospital. The financial toll was equally devastating, with damages exceeding $60,000. In the aftermath of this calamity, legal troubles emerged. Burke was charged with negligent arson, a stark reminder that even the most fearless can fall prey to miscalculation. At his sentencing, both the prosecution and his attorney proposed an 18-month house arrest, a suggestion meant to ease the harshness of his predicament. Yet the judge, unsympathetic to his cavalier misadventures, dismissed the idea, insisting that no leniency could erase the careless risk Burke had taken. In a tense courtroom moment, Burke's desperate plea echoed among the spectators as he admitted, "In one heartbeat, everything I worked for vanished. I am going to lose all my savings for retirement." The atmosphere was thick with regret and frustration. Not only was his future uncertain, but his personal life was also in turmoil. His attorney's confidential advice to keep personal matters away from the public eye was a silent nod to the deep emotional scars the incident had inflicted. To add to the drama, during another court session the following day, Burke arrived late, an error that did not help his case. The judge sternly reminded him, "It was said 3 times that the session begins at 9 o'clock. Burke's misunderstanding about the start time was a final blow that underscored the chaos trailing his every step. With frustration and disappointment marking the proceedings, it was clear that the once-adored risk-taker was now a man whose life had taken a perilous detour. Despite his troubles, Art's story is a complex tapestry of highs and lows, emblematic of a man who both charmed and challenged those around him. His daring rescues on the ice remain a testament to his undying commitment to his craft, even though his off-duty decisions cost him dearly. Art Burke stands as a vivid example of how a life lived on the edge can bring both glory and grave consequences. Hugh Rowland, the polar bear who lost more than a job. In the early days of ice road truckers, long before the cameras honed in on a select few, one man's presence defined the very spirit of the show. Hugh Rowland, fondly known as Polar Bear, was a stalwart of the ice roads from the pilot episode until Season 8, Episode 12. With an unyielding demeanor and a dry sense of humor, Hugh quickly captured the admiration of viewers. He was the second most featured driver after Alex D'Agostini, a recognition that spoke volumes about his reliability and unique character. Hugh's reputation was built on decades of experience, 15 years constructing ice roads and another 18 years driving them. His impressive resume was accentuated by a natural flair for snow stunt driving. His adventures provided endless entertainment, stories of sliding trailers and daring maneuvers while managing the unpredictable forces of nature. In one of his first interviews, he dismissed the cameras with a classic retort, "Yeah, you can put cameras in my truck, but just stay out of my way. Don't cost me any money." This blend of humor, pragmatism, and unapologetic toughness made him an enduring figure on the show. Hugh's life, however, was not without its share of heartbreak. During one fateful day in 2014, while riding as a passenger in a car driven by producer Will Morrison, Hugh experienced a catastrophic accident. The car skidded into a dense cluster of trees due to what Hugh described as reckless driving, a moment that would alter his life irrevocably. The injuries he sustained below his waist were so severe that they permanently ended his career as a trucker. The impact of the accident went far beyond lost employment. Hugh's personal life shattered as his marital relationship began to crumble. His injuries affected his intimate health, rendering him unable to maintain a physical connection with his wife. The subsequent pain and isolation were profound, and Hugh soon found himself embroiled in a lawsuit against Morrison. He wasn't merely fighting for compensation, but striving to reclaim the dignity and life he once knew. Though the legal battle dragged on without significant updates, the damage was already irreparable. Hugh's once roaring spirit was now subdued, a poignant reminder that even the strongest heroes can be crippled by fate. Hugh's departure from the show was as silent as it was tragic. His absence spoke louder than his words ever could, a lesson in the harsh costs that sometimes come with a life devoted to relentless passion and extreme risk. The legacy of tragedy. As the ice roads continue their silent vigil under the endless northern skies, the tragedies that befell Darrell Ward and Hugh Rowland remain etched in the memories of all who witnessed their journeys. Their legacies are not simply confined to the dramatic sequences on television. Rather, they endure as cautionary tales of life's unpredictable nature. Darrell's vibrant energy and willingness to risk it all for the good of others carved a permanent place in the hearts of viewers. His life was a series of heroic moments, a string of spontaneous acts that brought communities together. Whether it was combating forest fires or organizing local aid, Darrell never hesitated to put others first. The abrupt ending to his story has fueled many discussions among fans. How does one measure bravery when it comes at such a heart-wrenching cost? His planned documentary on aircraft wreck recovery now remains an unfulfilled dream, leaving behind questions of what might have been if fate had been kinder. Hugh's journey, too, stands as a stark reminder of the vulnerabilities lying beneath the veneer of bravado. Known as the Polar Bear, his icy composure was undermined by a single, tragic mishap that transformed his life in an instant. His departure from the roads was not just the loss of a legendary trucker, it was the collapse of a man who had given his life to the road.
I've probably been at these roads as long as anybody else has, if any of them are still alive or not. But I mean, I'm only 48 years old.
His lawsuit, his struggle with personal loss, and his quiet exit from the limelight are all parts of a legacy overshadowed by what can only be described as an untimely fall from grace. The tragedies serve as both a tribute to the strength required to face these dangerous roads and a somber caution to those who dare follow in their tire tracks. They remind us that the call of the wild is as beautiful as it is deadly, as inspiring as it is heartbreaking. When the icy winds blew across Montana on that fateful August day, they carried with them the echoes of a community in mourning. The sudden loss of Darrell Ward sent shockwaves through every small town and big city touched by his kindness. Neighbors, truckers, and even local authorities spoke of him with reverence, a man who was as solid as the frozen ground he traversed. In every conversation, his deeds were recounted not merely as episodes in a TV show, but as life lessons, a demonstration of what it truly means to serve others without expecting anything in return. In town halls, local news stations, and even social media posts, people shared heartfelt memories of Darrell. Stories of him helping a stranded motorist on a snowy night, or of him bravely battling a raging fire in the wilderness, have become part of the fabric of the community's collective memory. His family, forever marked by the sudden void, finds solace in the shared legacy of a life well lived, a life marked by compassion and heroism under extreme conditions. Hugh Rowland, too, despite his quiet exit and the pain that marred his final years, left behind an indelible impact on the community. His colleagues recall the roaring laughter that cut through the tension of long, cold nights on the road. His friends remember a man who never backed down, regardless of the odds. His lawsuit and the ensuing personal losses are spoken of in hushed tones, an acknowledgement of a once fearless spirit now rendered vulnerable by fate. Fans and fellow truckers often say that Hugh's story is a reminder that behind every hard exterior lies a person who has battled life's unpredictable storms. The community's mourning is not just a lament for those lost, but also a celebration of lives that shone brightly, even amid relentless adversity. These memories reinforce the belief that every road traveled, every risk taken, is part of a larger tapestry, a shared history that binds together the hearts and hopes of all who call the ice roads their second home. Lisa Kelly, the lone wolf who rewrote the rules. Lisa Kelly wasn't born into trucking. She carved her place in it, mile by frozen mile. Born in Grand Rapids, Michigan, Lisa moved to Alaska at age 6, where the vast wilderness toughened her spirit. College didn't stick, and traditional jobs felt suffocating. So she pivoted, delivering pizzas, driving school buses, and riding motocross, where she became a state champion. That edge, that craving for freedom and risk, eventually led her to a new kind of wild ride, the ice roads. When she joined Ice Road Truckers in Season 3, she stood alone as the only female driver in a male-dominated industry. The odds were stacked, expectations were low, but Lisa didn't flinch. She hauled loads on the deadly Dalton Highway in Alaska, braving minus 60 degrees Fahrenheit temperatures, avalanche zones, and cracking lakes. It wasn't just the conditions, it was the pressure. "I had to pull my weight and everybody else's," she said. "I couldn't make one mistake." But over time, Lisa proved she was more than a token. She was a force. Her resilience, authenticity, and guts turned her into a fan favorite and a role model. Lisa didn't just conquer the road, she changed what people believed was possible. "I'm the only one living my life," she said, "so I'm going to live it to make me happy."
She's pretty brave because I would be super scared if I was driving on ice.
I just wanted to say to Lisa that I was grateful for the inspiration.
When 22-year-old Steph Custance joined the show in Season 10, she brought wide eyes, shaky confidence, and a world of pressure. She was young, green, and responsible for her son back home. Hired by Polar Industries, she was tossed into the deep end, facing unforgiving terrain, sub-zero nights, and veteran skepticism. Her first assignment? Retrieve 2 stranded trucks in Manitoba. With no margin for error, Steph was scared but determined. Mentored by veteran Todd Dewey, she faced setbacks early. She struggled with chaining tires, hesitated on fragile ice crossings, and once cried on camera after surviving a terrifying crossing. But that emotional moment showed her strength. "I just made it to land, I think," she said through tears. But she didn't quit. Over the season, Steph transformed. Mistakes became lessons. Doubt became determination. What kept her going? "My son," she said. "Everything I do for him." Her journey was raw, real, and powerful. Proof that courage isn't the absence of fear, but persistence despite it. With his booming laugh, heavy parka, and snow-dusted beard, Alex Debogorski became the soul of ice road truckers. Born in Alberta to Polish immigrant parents, Alex grew up tough on a farm and lived an adventurous life. Coal miner, taxi driver, prospector, you name it. But trucking was where he left his mark. He appeared in every season of the show from the start, becoming a legend not just for his skills, but for his storytelling, wit, and unshakable calm in chaos. Alex didn't chase fame. He was a man of faith and focus. He knew the road's risks and respected them. "Driving these roads takes more than skill," he once said. "It takes respect for nature, for ice, and for others." His memoir, King of the Road, offered fans a deeper look into the life he lived far from the cameras. For viewers, he was a father figure, a man who knew when to talk, when to drive, and when to laugh in the face of freezing death. Ice Road Truckers, from documentary to global obsession. It started as a one-off documentary in 2000, spotlighting Canada's treacherous seasonal roads. But the fascination it stirred, men and women risking it all to haul supplies to isolated communities, turned into something bigger. In 2007, Ice Road Truckers premiered on History Channel. It exploded. The debut drew 3.4 million viewers, then a record. What made it click? Authenticity. This wasn't scripted drama. These were real people driving 40-ton rigs over ice as thin as 5 inches, with engines roaring and hearts pounding. Each season moved to new locations, from Yellowknife to Alaska to the Himalayas in the spin-off Deadliest Roads. The show's scale grew. So did the risks. But its magic wasn't just in the scenery. It was in the people. Their rivalries, breakdowns, jokes, victories, and failures. It was raw human experience, filmed on the edge of the world. Broadcast in over 100 countries, Ice Road Truckers became more than a show. It became a tribute to hard work, grit, and survival. While the show captured global attention, the toll it took on the drivers was real. Daryl Ward, known for his bold spirit and kind heart, died in 2016 in a plane crash while planning a new documentary. His motto, "Any road, any load," wasn't just a slogan. It was how he lived. Art Burke, the brash, unforgettable Newfoundland driver, had his own fall. In 2018, while making cannabis concentrate at home, an explosion left him with 40% burns and criminal charges. A symbol of fearlessness, his personal risks caught up with him. Hugh "Polar Bear" Rowland, once the show's second most featured driver, left the series after a 2014 car crash with a producer left him badly injured. The accident ended not only his career, but his marriage and public presence. Even Lisa, Alex, and Steph, who carried on, saw how quickly a life on ice could fracture. The road doesn't always forgive, but it never forgets. Ice Road Truckers wasn't just a reality show. It was a mirror reflecting something deeply human, the desire to overcome, to endure, and to prove we're stronger than the storms around us. The trucks were loud, the ice was brutal, but what kept people watching wasn't the metal or snow, it was the men and women behind the wheel. They carried more than cargo. They carried fears, hopes, burdens, and legacies. Daryl's crash, Art's fire, Hugh's fall, Lisa's rise, Steph's transformation, Alex's timeless grit. These stories wove a tapestry that celebrated blue-collar courage in its rawest form. In the end, Ice road truckers showed us this: that whether you're hauling fuel across frozen lakes or facing your own personal storms, the journey forward is what defines you. Some roads break you, others reveal who you really are. And for the brave few who dared to drive across the edge of the world, the ice remembers their story, and so will we.